Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Monday, 16th June 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Trinidad and Tobago to have a new police commissioner has voted on unanimously in the Parliament. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Alistair Guevara will be Trinidad and Tobago's next police commissioner. His nomination received support from both the government and opposition benches in the lower house of parliament on Friday last. More in this TTT news item.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, during her contribution to the debate, said the government will follow the law. She accused the previous administration of subverting the process to appoint a commissioner of police.
Every time a notification was brought, Minister, member is now telling us about, we'll support it, all is well and good, very nice, sweet words. When every time a notification came here, what did they do? They take the top from the list and they put it on the bottom. The Prime Minister ran to Presidents, grabbed the merit list. That has to be... Grab the merit list. And so public confidence really has fallen to an all-time low in the TTPS.
Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander moved the motion during his maiden contribution in the Parliament. He identified Mr. Guevara as a seasoned professional and patriot in the public service with experience in covert operations, intelligence, and counter-terrorism. Minister Alexander noted that the appointment of the police commissioner will strengthen public confidence in law enforcement and leadership in the police service.
This should never be a political exercise, as was done in the past. This motion is not simply about affirming the name put forward by the Police Service Commission. It's about safeguard and public interest, ensuring the stability of Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
In the meantime, a former member of the Police Service Commission, Martin George, on Friday morning looked at the process leading up to the confirmation of the new Commissioner of Police. And Nicole M. Romney of TV6 News has that story.
Martin George says the Police Service Commission has a duty to keep the public informed at every stage of the selection process. He notes that the PSC is expected to conduct a thorough and transparent vetting exercise and to communicate openly along the way. But so far, he says, there's been no sign of that level of transparency. He tells the TV6 Morning Edition there's been little to no public engagement, and he questions why the Commission appears to be operating, in his words, as if locked away in an ivory tower. George insists the process should be clear and accountable from beginning to end, not only to ensure fairness, but to maintain public trust.
So it's not just a question of you huddling away in a corner and you saying, well, okay, all right, you roll the dice and you say, okay, we choose this like, you're choosing three blind mice. No, you are supposed to do a fully transparent process whereby you invite the widest possible scrutiny
Martin George, who is also an attorney at law, says the Commission's responsibility is also about protecting the integrity of the process. He says proper communication and investigation helps to ensure that any rogue elements are discovered and removed from consideration long before the final decision is made.
You'll have persons who, for various reasons, malice or whatever, may make comments. But of course, you then discard those. But if it is that there is something serious in terms of some allegation or some thing that is proven against a candidate, then you have a duty to thoroughly investigate that and make sure that as part of your vetting and screening process, you weed that out. So therefore, going forward, you have basically a very sanitized list of candidates that comprise your merit list.
The attorney notes the government is not bound to accept the recommendation of the Police Service Commission and is free to appoint someone it feels comfortable with. However, he points out that historically those appointed to the post of commissioner have demonstrated a notable degree of independence once in office and have not appeared to be influenced by the government. According to George, this separation is critical to preserving the integrity of the office and public trust in law enforcement at the highest level.
I think that in fairness to the office holders, we have seen quite a few of them, display a robust level of independence of the feelings or the persuasions or the subtle whisperings of the government of the day.
A motion to appoint ACP Wayne Meister as Deputy Police Commissioner was also laid before the Parliament. Nicole M. Romani, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling for accountability following the discovery of billions in unaccounted for expenditure outlined in the Auditor General's report for fiscal year 2024. She said the findings raise questions about the mismanagement of public funds by the previous government. The report was laid in Parliament on Friday.
During her statement in the House of Representatives, Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar said the Auditor General's report for fiscal 2024 has revealed what she describes as damning irregularities. She said those responsible must be held to account.
On behalf of the citizens, all the citizens of Trinidad, everybody of TNT, we demand a public apology from the former
Mrs. Persad-Bissessar said a critical finding of the report for the second consecutive year was the fact that the Auditor General declined to express an opinion on the public accounts, issuing a disclaimer.
The Auditor General continues, I have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for an audit opinion on the public accounts of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. What a shameful state of affairs. What a shameful state of affairs. Those words are found at page 9 of the report, on which I shared with you, the 2024 audit report. What this means then is that the Auditor General could not verify, validate, or approve the accounts of the government for 2 consecutive years.
The report attributes this to restricted access to key financial systems, including the central bank's electronic check clearing and Go Anywhere platform, resulting in over $2.3 billion unaccounted for and $1.5 billion in expenditures unverifiable.
What did you have to hide? Why did you restrict the Auditor General from doing her job? What was the cover-up? We still don't know where the $2.3 billion from the previous year went. We still don't know. And this is not your money. This was taxpayers' money. People of Trinidad and Tobago. Approval by the central bank to conduct the examination was not given. Hence, the examination was not conducted.
The Auditor General also flagged massive rental expenses with little or no documentation.
Rent paid for properties leased by the government of TNT for the financial year was $493,250,000 $209,274.63. We are talking here almost $5 billion.
The Prime Minister said an unexplained variance of over $208 million was detected between reported rental payments and official records.
Some properties rented by government and for which rent was paid by ministries and departments were not shown on the master list. This raised concerns of the accuracy and completeness of the master list.
Several government-occupied properties were highlighted, including the building occupied by the Ministry of Public Utilities, number 1 Alexandra Street, Port of Spain. Mrs. Passard Bissessa said some of the rentals lack active leases or cabinet approval. The Prime Minister also called for further investigation into the accounting discrepancies, warning that failure to act could erode public trust in the nation's financial institutions. Mahalia Joseph Wharton, TTT News.
In other news, small island developing states will soon benefit from a new financing institution specifically designed to address their climate vulnerabilities. Details in this DBS News World News item with Lisa Joseph.
Thousands of scientists, hundreds of government ministers and officials, representatives of non-governmental organizations, and importantly, to the talks are financiers who are here in Nice, France, for the United Nations Ocean Conference. And among the institutions is the Development Bank for Resilient Prosperity. That is being led by St. Lucia's Dr. Hyginus Jean Leon. Dr. Leon told me that the bank is concerned with filling in gaps for small island states.
Where we are, in my view, is we are struggling. And when I say we are struggling, there are a number of countries in the world that are what I call underserved. We have tremendous needs. The perception of risk that we have is enormous. Our debt keeps rising because of shocks that impact us, but yet there isn't an ability to garner finance and funding to help change the narrative. And I think it is not necessarily because the funding out there is not interested. I think it's fundamentally because, one, the perception of risk needs to be redefined. And second, the access to finance needs equally to be redefined.
Dr. Leon says this would require change in how the global infrastructure sees small states, and also how small states perceive their own place globally. He says there is a huge hole that can be addressed by unlocking nature which all small island states possess, thereby changing the metric for wealth.
Fish in the ocean that belong, let's say, within your economic zone only has value when it is dead and on your plate. And the forests that you own only has value when it's cut down. And so the incentive to produce more, to get more income, is to fish as much as you can, cut down as many trees as you can, create as much produced assets as you can. And because we do not put a value, a cost on those things we are decimating, then it means the global position, the planet, keeps going downhill in terms of what it has, what its wealth is. And as it goes downhill, some that have used that wealth to produce keep getting richer and richer and richer, but not richer in real terms. They get richer in income. And so we say the first thing we need to do is to change what that metric of wealth is. Let's make it now wealth that includes sustainability, wealth that includes the income that we talk about, wealth that includes societal value, wealth that includes our culture, so that when we talk about are we wealthy, we are talking about wealth in a broad term. And so we've coined the term resilient prosperity.
The Development Bank for Resilient Prosperity is a multilateral treaty-based institution open to all United Nations member countries. An official announcement of the bank will be made in November at COP30, which is being held in Brazil. It is to be renamed simply the Nature Bank, and with its doors opening in 2026. Reporting from Nice, France for the DBS News World, I am Lisa Joseph.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.